All right. So Brenda has joined us today. I'm really excited because I actually, some of us may or may not have joined her last night through the Mary Washington group. I'm really excited to work with her. She has actually did another group this morning. She did another seminar on the Ninja Creamy, which I'm excited to start using because I've had mine for 6 months and have never used it. So she brings a lot of great information to us. She is a nurse and actually a bariatric patient for 13 plus years. Am I correct on that?
Yeah,
And yeah, just trying to, you know, help out everybody. And we are excited to bring her to you guys. So Brenda, if you want to kind of tell us what we're going to be doing today, that'd be great.
sure. Absolutely. I just want to welcome every single one of you guys here. So happy you made it. And I want this to be an open forum. So if anybody has anything that they want to talk about or share or has questions, I'll try really hard to pause between some things. Sometimes I get excited and I keep talking, but I'll try really hard. And Nina, please interrupt me too. I mean, you guys unmute yourself. You know, there's the chat box too. Whatever you want to do, because this is for you. We want it to be for you. And yes, today our topic is eating for life. And um, so, you know, with bariatric surgery, I felt like one of the biggest relief, I'm going to say, is for me was not having the worry after bariatric surgery of like trying this diet or trying that diet, because really it's about eating for life. It's about developing new habits, and I'm going to call it that fuel the body, the soul, the mind, and give us a lifestyle that gives us extra energy, helps our bodies stay strong, and your organs perfusing the way they're supposed to be perfusing, making sure that you're getting the blood supply to the muscles and the bones and everything like that. So we're going to talk about feeding our bodies today and focusing on maintaining a healthy weight and giving you some tangible ideas and ways to kind of direct that, and ways to kind of bring that into your everyday schedule. And so it may not be exactly your normal dietary talk. So before I worked with ProCare Health, which is my sponsor, um, I was basically, I worked for a bariatric surgery program and I did a lot of teaching pre and post-op. And so I did some of these support groups, but we also saw patients in clinic and all of that. And what I can say is that it looks different for everyone. You know, the bariatric programs are going to give you, we called it a bariatric Bible. It was kind of like a handouts of like what their expectations were. And really it was pretty minimal. It was, you know, getting so much protein in a day, usually 60 to 80 grams of protein. If you've had a sleeve or bypass, maybe higher amounts if you had a duodenal switch. Getting enough fluids in, taking your vitamins. I mean, it was pretty minimal. So those are things we're going to kind of touch on today. But I also want to just talk about what it's kind of been like for me in my journey and how that's kind of went. I'd love to know if anybody wants to share in the chat, if you guys want to type in and let me know how far out you are, if you're getting ready for surgery, if you're post-op, you know, if you're a week out, a month out, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever you are. I'd love to know a little bit about you, what surgery you had, because it kind of helps me gear my conversations. So it looks like Nina, almost 2 years. Yay. Aaron says year post-op, VSG. So both of you guys are VSG. My surgery was a VSG also as well. And really the diet, I'm going to call it diet, but really it's eating. I guess the type of foods that you eat for each of these surgeries is very, I mean, can be pretty much common. You know, with some of the surgeries, it might be a little harder to eat some foods than others, meaning with a gastric bypass, some people are a little bit more sensitive to sugars and have a little bit more of a reaction to those. Every once in a while, I can tell, I don't really necessarily get dumping syndrome, but my stomach does kind of hurt a little bit if I eat too much sugar. Yes, you get the same way, Nina?
I do.
Yeah.
And Pam and I actually had a conversation the other day because we're like, we don't get dumping syndrome, but we feel like we do. I mean, I will have to go more than I normally would after I've had something with real sugar in it. So
I get the foamies.
yeah, she gets foamies and I get the hiccups.
I get
hate
hiccups
those.
too. Or
Mhm.
my nose runs. I don't know if anybody else has that. It's a vagal stimulation. Anybody else have that where your nose runs? It's weird. So there is different things. So you kind of learn what works for you. And I can tell you like what worked for me like early on is maybe a little bit different from now. Um, and so, okay, we have some more. We have Donna's 13-month sleeve. Dara, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Almost 4 years VSG, but pre-op for gastric bypass. Oh, good for you. Oh, good for you. I'm wondering, are you having that because of reflux issues? And then Wendy says sleeve 1018 and bypass 723. Same. She's had a
Yeah.
revision too.
And she said reflux. Yeah.
Reflux. Okay. Yeah. I didn't really have bad problems with reflux before, but I can tell every once in a while that I have reflux issues. Not bad, but
I notice it when I
yeah.
have, like, I make Pam came over a couple nights ago and we had pasta, but we make it with the uh what's that stuff called? It's Bonza pasta, which is literally just
Oh,
chickpea. It's made out of
chickpeas.
Chickpea.
and it's delicious. But the sauce gives me reflux, and it's a red sauce, so it's like I'm assuming that's why. But it's the only time I get reflux now.
Yeah,
Special.
you definitely learn what works and what doesn't. And every day may be a little different too, you know.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we have people at all different stages, like post-op so far is what I'm seeing. And a lot of you guys have had sleep. A couple of you are transitioning to bypass. I have one bypass. Anyway, so we got a mixture of things. And so I'm going to be sharing my screen some. Oh,
Jenna's 9 weeks out. Awesome, Jenna.
Yeah, she's 9 weeks out from surgery, so
New
she's
one.
we got a newbie, and that's awesome.
let's see. Looking to see if I missed some too. Oh, yeah, I see now. That's exciting. Okay, well, we'll get started and I'll kind of be sharing my screen some and kind of jumping back and forth. So again, please feel free to chime in. I like that because it makes everybody, it's very interactive. Okay, so I don't want to make this boring. I just want to make it easy for you guys to understand. Let's see here. Zoom. Okay, it says host disabled participant sharing. So I don't know if I can share. If not, I can just talk too. It's not a
No,
big deal.
I didn't do it intentionally, I promise. Host
It's
tool.
probably the pre-settings. Ours is like that too.
Request remove. Show all. Okay, I just need to know where to go to do it. I'm so sorry.
Try the share button where it says share. Does yours say share at the bottom?
Yeah, multiple. Okay, multiple participants. All right, maybe try that now.
Okay, I'll try it again. Yes, I
Okay,
got
so
it.
now I know. I now uncheck. I will fix that in the background.
Awesome. So here's my presentation. I also want to say I do have some handouts for this, guys. I have a lot of different things I can talk about as far as handouts. And I'll show you where to find those as well. So the handouts can be found if I go to our ProCare Health website, which is procarenow.com. And I'll put that in the chat box here. I'll copy it, put it in there. And when you go there, over here, this fourth button, it says Very Connected. And there's a little tab that says Support Group Handouts. And today's topic is Eating for Life. And it's about halfway down. Like if you take this and scroll about halfway, it is, whoops, right here, Eating for Life. And there's 3 of them that I'm going to be talking about. But there's another little section that I've done a support group on before, and it's called Meal Prep Tips and Recipes. And there's a bunch of things there that kind of go along with this. So I might mention a few of those things too as well. Okay, I'm going to pop back on to the Eating
And I
for
will
Life
add that
presentation.
to our group page, guys, just so you're not having to, trace it down, but you're always more than welcome to go to the web page as well.
Oh, thanks, Nina.
Thank you.
Okay. And the chat box, let me see here, the chat. Keep that open and I'll paste.
And we still have people joining, which is fine. Like I said, there's some bad weather in the area, so we're just happy everybody's here that is here.
Stay safe, guys. Stay
Yeah.
safe. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about recommendations on food supplements and vitamins, kind of contain, like we're going to talk a little bit maybe about what your program might recommend, and then also what the ASMBS, which is American Society for Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery, recommends. Some benefits of eating healthy. I mean, it seems kind of intuitive, like what some of the reasons are, but we're going to kind of like focus in on that because sometimes just kind of bringing more awareness to it, it'll make you more mindful. I think for me, this eating for life is just about intention. Like, what do you want for the day? What's your intentions? Maybe some aligned food plans, and we're going to talk about developing maybe your own plan that might be helpful for you. So that is kind of in summary. We are gonna focus on these three things: food, supplements, and vitamins. I'm sorry, foods, supplements, vitamins, fluids, that type of thing. What is your program? Like, tell me, let me kind of go back here for a second, and I'm gonna stop sharing. Does anybody want to share? Like, does your program, I know we were just with your program yesterday, Nina. Did they have, like, what did they give you? What did they tell you?
So the biggest thing that they said to do was to make sure that you had bariatric vitamins. They didn't care if it was through a certain company or they really didn't give you levels to go by, which was one thing Pam and I have learned along the way, about your iron, the amount you should be getting, about the biotin, how much you should be getting, collagen and all those things. But they gave you kind of a guideline, but not specifics. And each person is different. So, where I am iron deficient, I have to make sure that the multivitamins I take have iron in them. And I didn't find that out until after a year. Unfortunately, felt like I was dragging constantly. I had no energy. But with ours, it's multivitamin, it's collagen. They suggest biotin, and just making sure you meet the protein and water levels every day.
What do they tell you for protein and water?
So 70 is a minimum, 90 is kind of the top for weight loss. And then anything below 70 is really maintenance. And when we talk below, it should still be 60 or above for maintenance. But what I have found is I did 70 just for a little while to see what would happen, because I still have 20 pounds to go and I plateaued. Yeah. So, and Aaron actually just brought something up that we've had an overturn in staff at the clinic, and they're getting different information. People that are newer are getting very different information than people that have been a year or two out. And so we're trying to help people kind of find that balance in the middle right now. But yes, so 90, they did tell us they didn't want us going to 100 because then you're dealing with weight gain because you're not burning enough of it off. So that kind of thing. That's what we were told.
So
I
Nina,
have
do you
done
work?
90
Oh,
my
sorry, I didn't
entire,
mean to interrupt.
well, I interrupted you. My apologies. This is Pam. I have done 90 since day one. I have never changed it. I've always done 90, and I have continuously lost weight until the last few months.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at that last 20 pounds. It's driving me crazy.
I know you.
But yeah, so I think that 90 is a good place to start.
Brenda, what has been your what are you seeing out? And you see so many different people across the United States and all. What's kind of the average of what you're seeing?
It just kind of varies. I mean, I would say right in where you guys are talking about, each program may be just a little bit different on what they tell their patients. It's interesting to me too, like depending on whether you're talking to a dietitian versus a nurse, that versus a doctor, there's different answers. So, I mean, it's really, to me, it's kind of about finding what works for you. I find it interesting too. I kind of started really trying to get consistent with my physical activity here a few months back, and I started doing training with the trainer 4 days a week. And my trainer set me up on, quote, a nutrition plan. And they knew I was a bariatric surgery patient, but I'm telling you the amount that they were wanting me to eat 170 grams of protein a day. And I told them, I said, I was trying the first couple days of trying to get even half that. And I'm telling you, I was kind of struggling. Like
Yeah.
anything more than 100 for me is a struggle. So it depends, too. I would say too, like if you have for them, their goal was to help me build muscle so that I could lose like I was losing weight. This last year, I actually started on. So you guys, I'm pretty far out. As Nina said, I'm had the VSG back in 2013 and lost about 80 pounds. And then my weight started shifting back up. Like the first 2 years, I kept it off really well. And then it kind of started shifting back up. And then at about five, my weight has been the same for the last 5 years. I kind of had gained about 35, 40 pounds back. And I thought, you know what? I want to try to get this back off. So I started on a GLP-1 and that has helped me tremendously. I'm back down. I'm actually lower than I was right after surgery. So that's good. I've lost about 40 pounds. And for me, what can I say for me? I would say for me, I really try to focus in on making sure, like if I'm not eating anything else, I'm trying to get my protein because like it almost feels like right after I felt like right after surgery where you're just not that hungry and you feel like you are struggling to kind of try to make yourself eat as frequently as you should. But I would say like for me that's the big thing. Like is focusing in on the foods that you want, making sure you get quality foods because if you're eating protein and you eat protein bar that has 5 grams of protein versus 20 grams of protein,
Right.
or like you're eating
Or it has
maybe
more
some,
fat than it does protein. It's really a fat. That's one thing I
yeah.
yeah.
So I mean that's kind of helped me, but like as far as like dietary guidelines and stuff, I can show you guys some things, some research that I found whenever I was researching this, if that's helpful. But as far as programs wise, it's pretty open. And I can tell you, even like whenever I did the researching from the American Society for Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery from their website and like was trying to compile, they give like a bunch of resources and then you can go dive into each of those things and kind of find. And it's very left. There's some left open to interpretation. So
Oh,
I
okay.
almost feel like, yeah, you almost have to find like what works for you. So I'm going to share my screen here real
Okay.
quick. One of the, one of, I pulled up your invite here. Sorry about this, guys.
No, no worries.
It pulls up all different kinds of stuff. So one of the things for basic recommendations, one of the handouts that I have under that support group handout page is just a list of things. And I'm going to just show you what it looks like, and then I'm going to take it off and just kind of talk about it because it's going to be hard for you to read this, but this is just here for after we talk so that you can kind of go back and refer to it. Basic recommendations pre-surgery, some programs require you to lose weight and some don't. And so we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about foods post-surgery and what that looks like. I do have some graphs and tables that were taken from obesity and related diseases and from some other resources that I pulled. So let me just stop sharing. I'm just going to kind of talk here for a second. Okay. Because I'm afraid that's kind of hard for you guys to see. So what I would say is the pre-surgery routine, like if your program does it, I didn't see anybody was really pre-surgery at this point, so we won't really spend a lot of time, but some programs do recommend weight loss, some don't, some insurance is required, some don't. So it kind of just depends on your program. As far as post-surgery, that's where we're going to kind of focus. And I would say for me, what really worked was very small meals initially, because literally, like right after surgery, your stomach's small, you have the swelling from surgery, and a lot of times tolerance wise is a little different than when you get further out. So for me, you would eat a lot of times you eat 1 or 2 bites and then you're actually pretty comfortable and almost like full. And so what I found is eating more frequently. And that doesn't mean that necessarily I was snacking all day. It was like actually like eating, trying to get in my quality
Mini
of food.
meals, right? Like mini meals.
Yes, for sure. Anybody else feel that way? I mean, if somebody has something else to add.
Especially anybody like who was it, Erin or Jenna that just had surgery, right? How are you guys doing after surgery with your meals? Are you seeing that you're having to eat more often? Oh, let me unmute you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely will feel very like sick if I don't eat as often. So I've been trying to make sure I take things out. But yeah, we've still got to eat little portions every day to make sure we're getting everything in.
It's kind of a balance because when you're trying to drink, like I remember how hard
Yes.
how hard it was because you're trying to drink and you're trying to get your fluids in, but then you're trying to eat and you really are eating almost every hour or two just because you're only can eat such small amounts. So it's sort of a balancing act those first few weeks. I will tell you it does get easier how much your stomach can hold at a time. I would say maybe 3 to 6 months in there is when you kind of start noticing, like you can balance that a little better and that were you going to say something, Nina?
I was going to say, and then there comes after a year when it kind of goes, oh, am I eating too much? Pam and I ran into that, both of us did. We were like, are we eating too much? And then we really started tracking again to figure out, because you kind of don't, some people don't track during that initial phase because your body is actually doing the restricting for you. But once you get past that restriction, it's important to start tracking if you haven't already been doing so, because it does
And
help.
I think that helps too, because a lot of times what happens is I found, so I had, whenever I had weight loss surgery, I was a coordinator for a clinic, and one of the nurses that I worked with actually had weight loss surgery a few months before me. So we were kind of like you, Nina and Pam, and we were going through it together. But I noticed that she was influencing me. I was probably influencing her on some of the food choices. We go to eat lunch together, and I noticed that a lot of her choices were going back to the original. And so I started doing that too. I was like, okay, I guess it's okay. But I can tell you, like, if you can just kind of stay in that zone, that first year is a little easier for whatever reason, maybe your mindset and what you're doing. And I'd say try as hard as you can just to continuously look at your lifestyle and what you're wanting and the foods you're eating, because it's very easy to slip back and be unintentional.
Bari-Bestiez actually has once a month, we've started doing a 5-day, what we call bariatric reset. That is not a pouch reset. Like, first off, we know that's a myth. There is no pouch reset. But we have 5 days where we journal. We have everybody, we ask that people journal. We work on mindset, self-care, tracking your food intake, your water intake, your protein intake. And we say that 5 days a month is worth it. If you can focus on yourself for 5 days a month, it can kind of help keep you on plan. And then you get through that 30 days and then, oh, I need to reset again. I need to refocus on my stuff because I'm starting to slip again. And it's easier to kind of keep on track that way.
Oh my God, I love that so much, because for me, sometimes it even just takes a day. Like if I get back and I know, for me, tracking, like you said, Nina, can be a helpful thing, because that way I kind of like am going back to changing my focus and where I'm wanting to eat and what I'm wanting to do. And sometimes even a day is enough, but 5 days is incredible because you're kind of building that pattern again. I love that. Let's see if there's any questions or anything.
I don't see any yet.
Okay. So a couple other things with that I just want to say is, your fluids, and that has been a struggle point for me. I've started just making sure if I have something with me, it helps. And if I try to make goals for myself, like having so much in by a certain amount of time, that helps. Setting a timer helps. Setting a timer has helped me more than anything for my vitamins. And vitamins, you guys, is as Nina said, have been really something I've tried to like really keep an eye on. And I know I work for a vitamin company, but I also know how important they are. I still, even as far out as I am, I still go and I have my labs drawn once a year to make sure that my vitamin levels are all in check and make sure that I'm, getting the right amounts, because could be different. Well, you think like some programs actually will tell patients it's only important for the first year or two. And that is such a myth, because like some of these deficiencies don't show up, especially like calcium, vitamin D. Some of those may not show up until further on down the line. Some iron may not show up until, you know, a little further out. So it's kind of like, I would just say if you are feeling like, especially if you're feeling, sometimes you can't tell that you have a deficiency, like you're not having a lot of symptoms, but those are things that um,
Luckily,
can
our
help. What is,
doctor, our clinic said that it's a lifetime commitment. So, and that's, I agree with that, because we've lost the ability to absorb the nutrients because, our stomachs are smaller. So it's a smaller digestion. I'm not a doctor. I don't know all that. But anyway, by having it, they said, having it for a lifetime, you're less likely to have all those issues, those lack of nutrient issues.
yes, and it depends on what kind of surgery too you have. You have a great point there. Like if you have a sleeve gastrectomy, it's considered a restrictive surgery. And what that means is basically you're not able to eat as much food. So your intake is going to be not as much. So you're not able to get as many vitamins and minerals. Some of these surgeries, like the bypass of the duodenal switch, are actually restrictive and malabsorptive, meaning the rerouting of the stomach from the bypass and also from the duodenal switch, where you lose certain parts of your intestinal tract, the small intestines, affects your absorption of different kinds of vitamins and minerals. So depending on which surgery you have can make you a lot more likely for certain deficiencies in those realms too. So yeah, so good point. And also just want to say here too, let's see, kind of go back to my notes. A lot of times people will ask about carbs, protein, fat, how much to get. And that was something hard I found when researching, like how much do you actually need of each. I would say for carbs, it was about 40 to 50%, protein, 30%, fats, 20 to 30%, depending on your body type. That came from a lot of different resources. This is all written down too for you guys in that handout. So if you decide you want to go back, and I kind of almost feel like if you're tracking for a few days, if you do kind of like Nina was talking about the tracking, you will know kind of more about your body and like how you can adjust. Because if you are trying, like, let's say you get to a plateau and you get to a set point, our bodies are so miraculous. I feel like they know they're trying to help survive. They're wanting us to survive. So they go into these modes of, okay, no matter what you do, I'm going to try to keep you safe and make sure that we maintain a set point or maintain and not allow your body to go into a starvation mode or whatever. So sometimes it's about just tweaking certain things. And I know for me, I've tried a lot of different things, like just to kind of like get back to that, like back to moving through plateau, because like I said, this last year was kind of a little bit of a challenge for me. I tried a few different things that some of them worked, some of them didn't. I tried the intermittent fasting and that seemed like that worked really well until I started doing the workouts. And then I needed some carbohydrates or something before I went in to be able to do the strength training. So I had to change that up. As far as like how much carbohydrates and things like that, I needed a balance. I needed to be able to get in higher amounts of protein. So I was trying to adjust what I was doing with my carbohydrates and what kind of carbohydrates I was eating, So I would say for each person a little different. What I would almost truly recommend is if you are at a plateau or struggling at some point, talking to someone. I was kind of, I don't want to say against that, but like for so many years, I work in this industry and I know a lot about the diet piece because I'm working with dietitians all the time. I work with surgeons all the time. And so I think that I can always figure this out myself. But the problem is I wasn't having any like really long-term success until I started working with like a nurse practitioner, dietitian, nutritionist, and things like that, because I needed to try to have somebody else help me with brainstorming. So if you do find you're hitting some kind of plateau or something, there's nothing wrong with talking to somebody who may be experienced in the field or somebody who has been able to help people through those plateaus and kind of like look at what you're doing. Does anybody have anything to say about that or what's helped them?
Pam, you want to unmute? I can see you wanting to do it. Let me unmute you.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing. I couldn't even hear the question.
Oh, it was just, the question was just basically, when we get to certain points, like we're talking about eating for life, and when you get to certain points where maybe you want to break through a plateau, or maybe you have a little stall in the weight loss and you want to kind of like go up a notch. I'm just
I go back to
looking
the
for other
basics.
suggestions.
I go back to the basics. We actually just did one of these. We did a bariatric reset. Is that kind of what we're talking about? Yeah, we did the
Yeah.
bariatric reset.
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
we went back to basics.
Yeah. Nina lost weight, I gained.
Well, and also
Well,
I
let me-
plateaued for 6 months, and I figured my body had just said, like you said, it's hanging on. It's saying it doesn't want you starving, right? So
Mhm.
I ended up going back to my doctor, my bariatric doctor, and he put me on Wegovy, trying to escalate the last 20 pounds before I can have skin removal surgery. I've lost 7 pounds on that, but I feel like I'm losing more inches than I'm losing pounds at this rate.
I just got approved for that today. Yay.
And it looks like Erin has a question. Go ahead, Erin. You're muted. Let me.
I'm talking and oh my God. Um, I don't really have a question. I just wanted to answer your question really. So I'm a year post-op this month and I stopped losing weight at my about 6.5 month mark after having surgery. So to me it felt like so soon, like what is wrong with me that like I'm not losing weight now, and this really only worked for 6 months. But I would just encourage people to talk to their doctor. That's what I did. And at first I said, oh God, I feel like a failure because, I'm only 6 months from this. How am I still not losing weight? But you don't know what you don't know. So I just found that to be kind of helpful because if there's tools that we can use, I'd say use them.
100%. I mean, you've got some good points, and sometimes it's hard to reach out for help. I know a lot of times clinics will say, and I remember our clinic being like that too. Patients are afraid. People are afraid to go back to their clinic and say just what you said. Like I'm struggling. Like I'm having a hard time. Like taking off that last little bit. And I will tell you that is not unusual. 6 months. Sometimes, Erin, people will have stalls after, early on like that. And there's nothing wrong. I just think, again, our bodies are so miraculous. Like there's something within us that is trying to protect us or trying to help us in some way. But it's about trying to get through that and trying to understand, because everybody's genetical makeup is different, like how we metabolize food. It's not just about what you're eating. I know that sounds silly, but there's a lot of different tweaks of eating and what you eat and what you don't eat and that type of thing, that can help your body metabolize food better. And sometimes just having somebody else help you with that can help. Did it help, Erin? Like after you went in?
It did. I think part of the thing too, for me personally, is that I had to go through a very long process to have this surgery because of my insurance. So it was like 14 months basically. And I feel like there's just like a thing that surrounds this kind of surgery where like people think, oh, I'm gonna have the surgery and oh my God, I'm gonna lose like hundreds of pounds immediately. So while I had to go through all this stuff and, like 20 nutrition classes and all these things, it's still in your mind like, okay, I know I'm going to lose a lot of weight. And then when it stops, it's like, what's going on? So a lot of it's mental, but I talked to I have Dr. Halmy, and I did talk to him, and I started taking the Wegovy as well. It has not produced much weight loss, honestly. Maybe like 4 pounds in 6 weeks, or 7 weeks, but my body is shrinking, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah, and that's why pictures are important and measurements,
Mhm.
because the scale, I nicknamed my scale because mine hooks up to my phone. My scale's name is Liar because it
Mhm.
lies all the time.
No, it really does. It's weird. 'Cause I looked at myself in the mirror the other morning when I got up and I said, "Oh my gosh, like what's wrong with my stomach?" You know, it like looked like it shrunk. But I would just like to encourage people to use the resources you have because the weight can stop at any time. And like you said, it can be other health problems. I have other health problems anyways. Um, but it's kind of discouraging, but I would just say use the resources you have because it's such a mental thing.
It is. That was a great response. Thank you, Erin.
It is. And you know, one other thing that I want to mention that was really helpful for me this last year with trying to take off the weight regain was actually keeping a detailed list week to week of I would weigh periodically, but I wouldn't write it down. Once a week, I would write down my weight on the same day each week, and I would track that. So for a full year, I have every single week I've weighed. And what I was noticing is it would feel like I wasn't losing, but maybe I was losing a pound a month. And that's like you would think you're not losing. So you start getting in your head and you start thinking, I didn't. Whenever I look from month to month, might be 1 pound here, 1 pound here, 2 pounds here. Like when you're weighing every week and you're not writing it down, you forget because those are all so close together. It's just like when you're gaining weight. When you gain a pound, you think, I don't think anything about that. And then you gain another pound another month, and then another pound another month, and you just don't think about it. But when you start seeing that slow progress, and what I will say is be patient, because like by writing it down and like you said, doing measurements and pictures and things like that, it can like let you see where you are, that month to month progression. And I would say the week to week is helpful because you can kind of see, you know, okay, because it can bounce up and down week to week, but month to month, you can start seeing a larger progression. That's just a helpful hint from my own standpoint. It's helped me.
Absolutely. That's great. Pam, it looks like you had your hand up.
Yeah, just kind of piggybacking on what Erin said. Erin, first off, you're doing an amazing job because you know what? You're putting yourself first. I love that you joined Bari-Bestiez and that you are open to sharing your story, your struggles and your triumphs. You know, you're sharing them with people who understand what you're going through. I I have lost a total of 164 pounds in little over 2 years, but I'm going to share something with you. Um, I had probably a good 10 months that I was stalled, had not lost a pound. I went a solid 10 months. And I got out there. Somebody forces me to, yes, I'm pointing at you, Nina. What are you doing to move your body? It doesn't mean you have to do this strenuous workout, lifting weights and all of this. Get your body moving, even if it's, you know, if you have stairs in your house and you're just going up and down, you just at your own pace, whatever your body will allow you to do. Join us on our 5Ks. And we've shared many times, no matter how slow, how fast, or what pace you want to go, we're there for you. We will walk with you until you take that last step across that finish line. I don't care how
Absolutely.
long it takes.
I will circle
Because
back.
our
I'll do
first
another
5K
circle.
was embarrassing.
Yeah, ours was bad. It took us almost 2 hours to do 3 miles. It was
It
rough.
did. And
But
we were almost in tears.
we were,
We were
because
covered in
our
sweat.
thighs were rubbing. I mean, you
Yeah.
remember where you were at your large. Always remember where you
Yes.
started. That's why I like to do progression photos, because where I started at 344 pounds and I'm at 199.8 today. I did
You
it.
didn't share that with me
I
earlier.
didn't get a chance to talk to you.
It's huge.
That's huge. I mean,
Wonderland.
I hit Wonderland, and
Love it.
you know, I was stalled for 6, 7, actually, no, it's been 7 months. And I finally jumped over the hoop, you know. Now, some of you, we were talking about movement. I just want to bring that up because movement is a key. It's one of those things I hated to do before I got to about this size. But those little 5-minute videos, that's all you need to do is that 5 minutes to get you moving. I will stand on my front porch with people honking at me as I'm sitting there doing those videos for you guys so that you can see it's not that bad. It's just up and down, up and down. We can do this. You know, I've got my dog barking and the guy next door honking his horn at me. So just let you know, you can do it. Okay. We have all been through these. Some of these plateaus are brutal, brutal.
And
brutal.
yes, I'm crying. I'm crying because
Oh. But guys, that's what we're all here
Watched.
for.
sorry, I've watched her work so hard for the last several months. I love you. You're amazing. She is one of the best people in my life, and I've watched her struggle and work and build other people up. And oh my God, this is big.
It's
Tell
big.
me, this is so big. $199. I want to hug you so bad right now. This is awesome.
Thank you. But I don't want to take away from everybody else because this is, you know, this is a family. Our group is a family, is the way we look at our group, is that we're family. So if you ever need anything, you let us know. Brenda, she's through ProCare, you know, or I say that wrong, don't I? Because you don't work
you're
for them, or
yeah, I'm work with them, work for
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I want to say you're not taking anything away from the group by shouting out for yourself, because when you show that something else is possible, show that that's possible, you help other people know that it's possible. I mean, it's kind of like the marathon runners that when they used to do like the fastest people in the world, when they
Yeah.
break a speed record, you know, somebody else knows they can do it because it's been done before. So cheers to you.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Oh Lord. Well, I mean, as far as you guys, some other resources I have, I'm just going to kind of share my screen and mention just a few of them because I feel like the conversation here is organically just really good. So I do have a sample meal plan. This is like kind of like maybe if somebody's interested in like trying to get some ideas. To me, ideas are the biggest thing. Like before I go, so some of the biggest things that's helped me is making a list whenever I go grocery shopping. I have a couple shopping lists here, also that I have up here on my screen, and I'll show you those here in a
And
second.
are these in
But
that same place?
they're actually under meal. I think they were under meal prep. I'll show you
Okay.
here in a second
Okay.
too. But yeah, those are under there too. But to me, like being intentional, I mean, really just like thinking about what you're doing. So like if it helps you to plan out meals, this is a way to do it. Just kind of sitting down and putting things down. I am not a real regimented person. It's hard for me to follow a meal plan, but some people really like that. Now I will use it for grocery shopping. I'll pick out five different proteins I like, some 3 or 4 different vegetables I like, I'll pick out. So I make a list of those and I'll make a list of my recipes, and then I'll go grocery shopping and I'll have it on hand. So I'll have it at my house to eat, if that makes sense. So here's just some different ideas. If that's helpful to you, it's on the site, a sample meal plan, and then below you can print this out and use it. So at the bottom, it has, you know, your vitamins, how much, like a little check mark. Like if you want to put those, this up here, this top row has a little space for vitamins, how you want to plan that out, your protein, your fluids, your vegetables, fruit, like having goals per day. You may not hit it every day, but it gives you something to work towards. And then to reevaluate each day, say you didn't hit it, then you can say, okay, what can I do tomorrow to hit that? Do I need to prep food? Do I need to make a lunch? Do I need to, like, you have to just ask yourself those questions when you aren't hitting where you want to be. So that's just a helpful little resource. Also, some other things maybe helpful is tracking apps. I know you kind of mentioned maybe that earlier. If you're not a paper and pen kind of gal, you're an electronic kind of person. There's Bari-Tastic, there's MyFitnessPal, there's Lose It. And then there's some other ones here, which I've not really used that much before, but when I was researching, I found the Waterlogged, Fujicate, My Diet Coach, Fitbit, Area, Happy Scale. So those are all ones.
I did use the waterlog, by the way. And
Oh,
by
tell
the
us about
way,
it.
guys, it made me have to feel like I had to go to the bathroom because it would have the sound was a water trickle. So So my phone would just go, and I was like, all of a sudden, I got to pee and I got to drink at the same time. So,
Does anybody else have apps that they use that they find helpful that they want to share?
Aaron says,
I like the
very
Baritastic one. I used MyFitnessPal for a very long time until they changed some things. Then you had to pay for this and do this and do
Yeah.
this. The Baritastic one is real good.
I like that one too. Dara says the same thing for Baritastic. I think Baritastic has a lot of good points in it, definitely. I don't think it has as broad of a menu. You know, sometimes you're going to have to go find the information and plug it in, but I think it's good for bariatrics.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't tell you you're not eating enough. That's what MyFitnessPal would always say to me. You're not eating enough.
Exactly, because you could put your macros in there. And I only found my macros out about 8 months ago. And then we've had a change in nutritionists at our clinic. So
that kind of changed for you. It was depending on there's just different ways of looking at it. And we've had actually done live events on macros and that type of thing before. And it's kind of a hard subject to talk about because depending on like so many factors, maybe how old you are, your fitness level, activities, just
health
different
concerns,
things.
Everything.
Yeah, health concerns. We have a fresh post-op shopping list and a post-op one that may or may not be the same as what your facility gives you, but it's just some ideas if you're kind of shopping, and then a maintenance shopping list. So I think those are under, if I go to that support group handouts, the maintenance one has a lot of just different food ideas. So like if you're looking for food ideas, that's one of the hardest things for me when I'm going grocery shopping is to know, because I like variety. I'm very much of a variety person. So we just have a lot of different things. So if you decide you're looking for ideas, that's a great place to look. When I go back to that support group handouts, it's under meal prep tips and recipes. And so Eat for Life is just about halfway down. It's just right above that. And there's some other templates too that might be helpful.
That's great. And I know I use Pinterest a lot to get different ideas of meals. And then that's how I'll do my grocery shopping for the week. Is I just,
the same.
Yeah. I'll do a screenshot of the recipe and off I go. But I do find that if I don't make a list, I tend to go off that list. I tend to get things I probably shouldn't, even if it's for my grandkids to enjoy. Because you know what? They're here for a little while. I want them to enjoy their food, but I can still make good food for them that's healthy. So, we have to remember that we're not only doing things for us, but for the people that we take care of as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I wanted to, I wanted to just, as far as what I have, guys, closing ideas, I know we're kind of getting close to time. I just wanted to say, like, the biggest thing I think is just being, like, if you're wherever you are, it is eating for life. It is a way of life. And I've learned that more and more each year. And to me, it's just about being intentional, like what your goals are, what you want to achieve. And the more focused you are on that, your mind is going to be setting in that direction. Now, if your mind is setting on, I'm worried I'm going to fail, I'm not able to do this, I know you have fear creeping in and telling you can't do this, that it's not going to work, stop. Like, just stop and then just go back, reset yourself, and then go back and say, change your beliefs, because your body is going to follow what you're telling it. If you're telling it that you can't do this and that it's not going to work, what's going to happen? So I want to just say that's probably one of the biggest things is just use your mind as your ally and not your enemy, and fuel your body. Find out what your body needs. Are you getting enough protein? Are you getting enough carbohydrates? Sometimes people skip on the carbohydrates because they think they don't need them, but that's really quick fuel that helps you with it's fast acting fuel, meaning it protein is like longer term fuel, so those are just some little helpful hints. And I also wanted to share, I know Bari-Bestiez is actually affiliated with ProCare, so I'd love to share you guys' affiliate code. Is that okay if I share
Yeah,
that with
that's
these
fine.
guys? And I can kind of share some things on our website too. Because I know you asked me to maybe talk a little bit about vitamins. I don't know if there's any vitamin questions. I'd be happy before we.
Yeah, I think we've had people ask in the group about vitamins, and of course, we've offered the discount code, which gives you guys 10% off your order. I mean, it's just to help you guys out. You know, we are affiliated with them, and yeah, ProCare. And if you guys have any specific questions around what types of things they have, I mean, this is a great time to ask. I mean, we can tell you what we take, and that's what we've done. You know, my hair growth is just phenomenal now. I mean, this is all new hair growth right here. Okay. And I had almost a bald spot right there. So, you know, and look at this hair. Yeah, Pam is showing off hers. Same thing. You know, we're having good results. And to be honest, it's easier to take one multivitamin once a day than having to take it 3 times a day. I still have to take my calcium 3 times a day because that's what my doctor told me I needed. But I keep at my desk because I literally live at my desk, and I have my morning and afternoon, and then I take my, when I first wake up, calcium, which I've learned.
These I have to do 3 times a day.
Yep, those are
And
the,
then this is once a day. So I just recently switched from these to these,
mhm,
and I even feel like I have more energy.
yeah. So
There's something different in these.
yeah, that's the one I use because I have iron deficiency, and that's why I started using that, the 45, the bariatric 45, which is a multivitamin plus the 45 milligrams. And yes, we love the mocktails because they're fruity. So if you, a lot of times when you get the calcium chews, they're all caramel because it's an easy cover for taste. But the nice thing about ProCare is they have the ones that taste like fruit. They have chocolate. I mean, they have so many flavors. So
Cinnamon roll.
yeah, I mean, try it out. I mean,
I can show on our website what you guys are
Yeah,
talking
that'd be
about so
great.
people
Yeah.
kind of know. I'll spin over there. Our chocolate, unfortunately, we only have that during the cooler months, so it just went out, but that is one of the fan favorites
that's why
for
you got to
sure.
buy it before, because it gets hot and it melts in the mail. That's why they don't do it. I've actually heard OSLP talk about that. I was like, because we love OSLP. They're our queens. So,
Aw.
and I actually
gonna
just
be-
got this citrus grove. I actually just got one of those tasters to drop in my vitamins, so it gives them a better taste. You know, actually, I didn't taste them before, so I didn't have an issue, but I wanted to try it out. So,
Oh, that's awesome. One of these, the Sensorts.
yeah.
Yes. So when you get here, if you go like this, it makes it easy. Multivitamins, calcium, protein, and then therapeutics. Therapeutics are things like you can add on to your multivitamin routine. I'll just real quickly just pull these up real quickly and just kind of show. So many of our multivitamins are 1 a day. We are one of the only companies to have a prenatal, and we are one of the only companies to have we were the first company with probiotics. I think there might be a few companies now that has a probiotic with the multi, but probably our most popular are our capsules and our chewables, these 2 brands right here. This one you can get varying degrees of iron, 800 or iron free, 18 milligrams and 45 in a capsule. And then the same with our chewable. Our chewable has 2 flavors. It has a fruit punch and a citrus. The fruit punch has all 3 varying degrees of iron, and the citrus, I think, just has 2. And then this is one of my favorites. This is brand new. It's a bariatric multivitamin that is a tablet. It's, I guess, kind of like a capsule, and it's coated with orange flavor, citrus flavor, and it has orange scent on it, and it's easy swallow. And so it's a 1 a day also. So that has 45 in it. We just have 1 level of iron with that is the 45. And then we have a DS formula for people who've had duodenal switch or SATI. I noticed yours was the bariatric multi-special 45. That one is different, a little bit different. Yeah, it has lower B12 because sometimes people will have high B12 levels.
I have high B12.
And it has increased B1, and it has methylfolate instead of folic acid. I will say I think all of our bariatric multis that are in the capsule form and chewables now have methylfolate instead of folic acid. Some people
And I
just
used
don't.
to take that separately, so it's great that it's in there. So it's not a separate item I have to buy. It's great.
The methylfolate.
Yes, I mean, yes, the folic acid,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
but methylfolate actually replaces it, right? In this.
Yes, like some people have a gene mutation, which I don't even know how you'd know. I guess you get tested for it, but some people just don't absorb methylfolate.
Oh,
I'm sorry, don't absorb folic acid. So methylfolate is a better way to absorb
even better.
that vitamin. And then, yeah. And then calcium supplementation, you guys mentioned some of these, the cinnamon roll, the sea salt to caramel, dinner mint, the mocktails, and the chocolate.
Yeah.
So those are all under the calcium. And then if you go to proteins, we go here. I don't know if you guys have tried any of the
I got
protein
some free
powders.
samples that came in my last order, so I'm looking forward to trying those out.
I haven't
Yeah,
tried any of these.
No.
Your dad sounds
One
right.
thing that you guys can do too, up here at the very top of the screen, there's a blue line and it says free samples. So if anybody wants to try free samples before purchasing, when you go to the main menu, you click on this icon, it'll take you to the main menu and it'll say interested in free sample, click here. And there's just a short little form that you basically fill out and one free sample per customer. And so you can it's very short little form.
Yeah, I actually did that before I started taking it because I wanted to try all the different ones. And I think that was the best way to be able to try a lot of the different products without it costing you to buy them.
A bunch of different ways. So I'm glad you said that. So here is something like our sample packets look like, but if there's something specifically that you're really wanting to try, you can list it in the message. Like let's say you're wanting to try the special 45, or you're wanting to try one of the bariatric capsules. I think they include that, but just if there's something specific, you can always put it in there. I can't guarantee that they'll be able to send everything by sample, but that is definitely a way to be able to take a look at that. And then under products, therapeutics. So some people want extra biotin or extra vitamin D or extra B12. So there's a whole list of supplementation. And I will tell you, a lot of our stuff some of these things are like going on a deep discount because probably for the next 10 to 15 days, because some of them are getting closer to expiration dates. And so we were getting ready to like just get rid of a bunch of products to get new. So you save a lot, like 39-40%. Some of
That way
these
you
are
can try it out before it expires and
yeah.
yeah.
So we want to, because some of these things have a shorter shelf life. And so we always have to allow months and months ahead of time because people, you don't want to get it and then it expires. So we actually keep really close watches on that. So we have some really deep discounts right now. Like our mega fish oil, I just got some more of that today. I take that. And
$6.
that's
amazing.
right now is only $6, which normally is $30.
Yeah.
So
Is that a
some deep-
collagen
Fish oil.
push?
We have a formula under our proteins. The collagens are listed under there, and we have two products that have collagen in them. One of them is this Liquicell, which is a protein, and it also has arginine in it, which is a collagen form, and that has 16 grams of protein. I think it's 100 calories, and it's like a protein shot. You can add it in water or fluids, and it comes in a lot of different flavors. Let's see, 5 different flavors. Used to have 6, and I think they took away one of them. But that's one. And then down here at the bottom is something called Push, Push, and that is a collagen dipeptide, which absorbs a little better. It has a higher level of protein in it, but it is a little bit more pricey. And it's really good. It's mostly advertised for wound healing. So like collagen is actually a protein and it is one of the amino acids in it. And so it's the way that it's distributed throughout the body. I guess it has a little bit of a different effect, but it is mainly promoted for wound healing, this push, as opposed to just skin, like, so it's basically skin repair, but a lot of people will take collagen for skin elasticity and
That's what I take it for. but
skin
it's
health.
Our goggles. Yeah. Oh, wow, Brenda, thank you so much. And I know we're over by a couple minutes, but guys, thank you so much for joining. And those that had to deal with that bit of weather that came through, we appreciate you sticking it out. Brenda, again, thank you for joining us today and sharing all this information. I will put it on our page, our group, just so you guys can look at it later if you need to reference it, and I will put the links out there. But I wanted to say thank you to everybody for coming and
Yes.
sharing with us today.
Thank you, besties.
Yes, 100%. And thank you again, Brenda. We hope to talk to you soon.
Yes, thank you guys too. I got to know too, do you
Thank
guys
you.
work with the clinic, or you like, what is your relationship? Do you work at the clinic?
We're patients of them.
We're patients.
Patients.
And we
Okay.
decided to build our own group because we were both past a year. And while Mary Washington is great with what they do, there's a lot that is lost after that 1 year mark. And we found that we needed support. So we started supporting each other. And then we started talking to people and they're like, well, why don't you just do a group? And that's how it happened.
Yeah.
But they actually support us. They promote us as well as additional support. So it's really been a good
Aw.
collaboration with them.
And
Well,
we
that's
just
sweet.
started this, what was
3
it?
months ago.
Maybe it was February, right? Right before our birthdays. Yeah, February.
Okay, 4 months. The time
Well,
is
maybe some point I'll get to meet you guys in person.
That would
If you
be
guys ever have an
amazing.
event. Yes,
Oh,
if you ever
yes.
have an in-person event, reach out, let me
Oh, I
know.
will, for
I will
sure.
be with OSLP this next week. We're going
They're
to
the queens.
We love them.
do you? I'll have to tell them that
We
do
were
they know?
supposed to
Did they know
go
you?
to the weekend,
Yeah.
but it's
Oh,
Father's Day weekend, and plus my granddaughters have a
Yeah.
dance recital, so it was kind of like we
Yeah.
couldn't
We've
go.
had a
But
Teams call with them already.
yeah, and
Yeah, we had a
Awesome.
one-on-one with them. It
they're
was
doing a
it was great.
podcast with us in August.
Yeah.
So we're loving it. We're living the life right now. We're enjoying it. Wish we could do it full time. I promise you,
We will.
we will one day, but right now
Yeah.
it's kind of a part-time job. But we love it. And thank you for reaching out. And yes, we would love to have you in person.
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
can do that.
Let me know when you guys all get together doing something.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds great. And again, guys, thank you
Well, thank
again.
you.
And we'll be talking
Thank
to
you.
everybody soon. Thank
Yes.
you.
Have an awesome week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys. You may stay.